Hello, guys. Back again with another podcast. It's the beginning of the Game Week 5, and this is my review show for the up and coming fixtures over the weekend. So we start off with the fixture which takes place on Friday night, which is the South Coast derby between Brighton and Bournemouth. This game I can only see going one way, to be honest. I can see a Bournemouth win due to the fact that they've not picked up a single point from their first four league games. Even though Brighton did manage a 3-1 win against West Brom in their last fixture, I, uh, I really think Bournemouth are too good of a team to be go 5 games without a win. And I really do see Bournemouth winning this game comfortably, and I'm going to go for a Bournemouth 3-1 victory in this game. Um, Moving on to the fixtures which take place over the weekend. So we start off with Crystal Palace versus Southampton for the lunchtime kickoff. This game is an interesting game with the fact that Southampton lost to Watford in their last game, a game which a lot of people would have banked on in Southampton winning the game, but they were defeated 2-0 by Watford at St Mary's. And Southampton, we all know the problems that they're facing at the moment. They sacked the manager Frank de Boer after not getting any victories from his first 4 games. They've appointed Roy Hodgson personally, which I think is not a good signing for them. I don't see what difference he can make to them really. Even though he has Premier League experience, I don't see him doing any better than Frank de Boer. And touching on the Frank de Boer point, I'd say it's very harsh the fact that he got sacked after 4 games. It's, the guys come from Ajax, a team which is based on a certain type of football. He's tried to implement it with this Crystal Palace team. It's not worked after 4 games, but surely he's got to be given longer than that. Um, I reckon that he should have been given at least 10 games, not 4 games. It's impossible for a manager to come and 4 games and then you're out the door. I just don't think he was fairly dealt with. And Roy Hodgson, I don't think he's going to do any better. But talking on that point, I see Crystal Palace winning this game. I think the game's going to go 2-1 to Crystal Palace. And yeah, I see again like the Bournemouth situation. I can see Crystal Palace getting a few goals, and again, I personally think that Crystal Palace won't be a team that'll go down. And the fact that they've got quality in the team, such as players like Andros Townsend, Jason Punch, and Benteke, I reckon they really come to come and strike in this game. And I see a Crystal Palace 2-1 win. So moving into the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we start off with Huddersfield versus Leicester. A game where Huddersfield have been playing well recently. Leicester, similarly, they've been playing okay. Leicester lost their last game 2-1 to Chelsea, with the former player N'Golo Kante scoring against them for a 2-1 defeat. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game. This Huddersfield, they've been playing well at home. They lost their last game away to West Ham 2-0 on Monday Night Football. Don't think they offered too much going forward, and a lot of people, as predicted, it was a dream start for them, and we all know that it's not going to carry on. But this game is a very tricky one to call, and I reckon it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I reckon. But yeah, it's an intriguing game. But personally, I see it being a draw. Moving on to the next game, which takes place Newcastle Stoke at St James's Park. Newcastle on the back of a few good wins against West Ham and against Swansea on the weekend, up against Stoke, who themselves got a very handy point against Manchester United at home. A game which, again, is very hard to call, but for me, for some reason, after Newcastle's 2 performances of not conceding a goal, I see them conceding a few goals in this game, even though it's at St James's Park, and I think it's going to be a 3-1 win to Stoke, I reckon. Okay, so moving on to Watford versus Man City, a game where most people would have down as a Man City win, and I'd have to go in agreement with that. Man City have been looking crazy in the last few games, smacking up Liverpool 5-0. Even though Liverpool were down to 10 men, the quality still had to be there, and they showed it with scoring 5 goals. And then midweek, playing against Feyenoord, they look ruthless. Champions League opening night away at a tough ground in Feyenoord and dispatching them by 4-0. Very accomplished performance by John Stones and Sergio Aguero with a great goal as well. But yeah, again, I don't see Watford getting anything from this game at all, and I don't see Watford scoring. My prediction for this game would be a 3-0 win to Manchester City. Okay, so moving on to West Brom versus West Ham, another 3 o'clock kickoff. West Brom been playing well lately. West Ham picked up their first win against Huddersfield, which there was a lot of pressure on Slaven Bilic in that game. He needed the win. You could see the relief after Andre Ayew scored that second goal on his face. Yeah, West Ham really needed that win so much for confidence-wise, and I really see them putting in a good game up at the Hawthorns this weekend. A game, again, where a lot of people will think it's a very tough one to call, but I fancy West Ham to win this game, and my prediction for this game would be 2-1 to West Ham. My prediction for this game would be 2-1 to West Ham. Yeah, and another game which takes place on Saturday is Tottenham versus Swansea. A game again which I don't see anything but another as a Tottenham win. They played brilliantly against Borussia Dortmund this Wednesday. Really can't see anything but a Tottenham win. Swansea looked poor against Newcastle, a game where they should have looked to take some points from the game, but they didn't get any points from that. And away at Wembley, even though Tottenham have had their troubles at Wembley in the opening few games, I can't see anything but a Tottenham win in this game. So moving on to the Sunday games, this is where a lot of people will be excited as the games. Sorry, I've missed one game out. Liverpool versus Burnley. Yeah, again, this is a really tricky game, to be honest. Liverpool have been playing well, apart from their 2-2 draw against Sevilla. A lot of talking point over Lovren and his defending. A game which they were 2-1 up. They had a penalty to make it 3-1 before half-time and they missed. And 76th, 77th minute, Correa scores for Sevilla and 2-2. The only English side not to win their first Champions League game out of the 5 teams out involved in it. But yeah, a tough one because Burnley are a decent side, and Burnley picked up a win against Crystal Palace. A lot of people say it was as an expected win, but not only that, the thing that I saw from Crystal Palace was Burnley defended really well. The fact that Crystal Palace had a few shots, and Burnley, they didn't need to go second goal. It just shows that they were composed and they could control what they were doing. And defensively, they're very good under Sean Dyche. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Liverpool Crystal Palace game was to end up a draw, to be honest. If I had to go for a score prediction for this game, it would be probably 1-1. So that's the Saturday games done. And moving on to the Sunday games, the big game, that's got a lot of people talking this weekend, is Chelsea versus Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. This game, I really don't know how to see it's going to go. The fact is, there's a few pointers saying that we can get something from Stamford Bridge, and there's a few pointers that think we can't really do anything. The fact that we've not won there since 2011 just shows that what task it is to get anything from Stamford Bridge. Another point being Chelsea smacked up, even though it was a weak side in Karabakh of Azerbaijan in the Champions League, scored 6 goals. That's only going to breathe confidence into their team going into the weekend against Arsenal. Arsenal ourselves, we beat Cologne yesterday, looked very shaky in that first half, no decisiveness going forward. Just there was nothing there in that first half. Even though a lot of people would argue that team wasn't our first team, we were missing players like Lauren Koscielny, Mustafi wasn't there, Laka, Özil. A lot of the first team were rested for the game. But yeah, we played really well in the second half. Sanchez scoring an absolute screamer. For me, in this game, Kolasinac has to start, and he has to start in his preferred position at left back. I reckon He'd give Chelsea a lot of problems going down the left-hand side. Yeah, and I'd love to see Lacazette, Ozil, and Sanchez all start together because it's not something we've seen yet, and I reckon it will work. All we have to do for the game is just sit back. We don't have to go out from the start with the away team. You see how the game goes for the first half an hour. If we're still in it at 0-0, that's great. If we go a goal down, still not the end of the world. Just don't concede the second goal before half time. But yeah, really looking forward to this game. We've beaten Chelsea on the past two occasions, even though that was at Wembley in the Community Shield and the FA Cup final. But yeah, away at Stamford Bridge, we just find it really difficult to get anything from there. But I'm going to be hopeful, going to try and be positive, and I reckon at best, I can't see us winning there, but I reckon we can get a point. I'm going to go for a high-scoring game in this. So I'm going to go for a Chelsea 2, Arsenal 2. Okay, so the last game of the weekend is Manchester United versus Everton. A game where Wayne Rooney goes back to Old Trafford, but this time he's wearing an Everton shirt. Manchester United, they're on form, even though they drew against Stoke, but everyone knows Stoke's a difficult ground to go to. A lot of the big sides struggle away at Stoke. But yeah, Man United versus Everton, another intriguing game. Everton were poor against Atlanta on Thursday. They lost 3-0. Didn't look too good. They got hammered by Tottenham at home 3-0. They lost 2 weeks. They lost 2-0 to Chelsea before that. It's a game where Everton needs something, and going away to Old Trafford is a very difficult place to go. But I reckon after their 3 bad performances against Chelsea, Atlanta, and Tottenham, I reckon Everton will turn up. And the fact that Wayne Rooney's playing for them might add a bit more to it. We might see the best of Wayne Rooney in this game, playing against his former club. Man United looking in hot form with Lukaku playing up front. The guy's banging in goals for fun. A slight worry for them is Pogba's injured, but I can see players like Mkhitaryan and Rashford stepping in and providing for Lukaku. Again, this game's a really tough one to call, but I'm going to go for a high-scoring draw. I see another 2-2 in this game. So that's my prediction for the weekend, guys. Let me know what you think. But yeah, that's my views on this week's games. There'll be another show next week on the week's games for next week. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you.